I don't even know where to make that eye contact.
I think you should look at me because we're having a conversation.
Oh, I know, but I'm like thinking about it. I'm like we gotta introduce it though, you know.
There's just so much chaos. There's mics, the dirty sock on my mic. There's the mailbox in front of you.
This is why film creators have a hard time creating fun, simple things because we like professional.
Yeah, we overcomplicated this.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was worth it.
We have a coffee table in the desert.
Yeah, I drove a Tesla off-road to get here. All right, guys, welcome to the Life in the Flowstate podcast. Today is our very first episode here at Mafialand. And no, it is not the Mafia podcast. This is the Life in the Flowstate podcast. Jackson, how did we end up here?
Honestly, it's a very good question. First, I think we should explain what Mafialand is.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like, what are we doing here?
Okay, so real quick tidbit. Mafialand is started by this creator, Airrack. If you have seen him, if you've not seen him, if you follow me, you may have seen him on my stories because I've helped him do some really, really crazy stunts. And he, long story short, he bought this property for creators to come out and create on. And funny story is Jackson was actually one of the first creators to come out here and create on it. Jackson, what did you do?
I think I was the third. I think I was like the third. Two people beat me out here, but I was really thinking about it, and I loved this idea. I loved Airrack buying a plot of land, because I've had this idea before, like going out into the middle of nowhere, buying land, and going out with my friends and doing crazy stuff. And then Airrack just did it.
Yeah.
And then it's been a month and no one's done anything. And I'm like, okay, how about I do something cute and cheap? And I literally built this mailbox like 2 days ago.
Well, in all reality, though, so we put a sign-in sheet in the mailbox, so we don't even know how many people may have come and visited, tried something beforehand. We just now have an accountable record that's, a few people. And Zach King the other day came out and buried an NFT somewhere out here, but it's already been found, right?
Yeah, he buried a full Bitcoin.
That's insane.
Like $35,000 full Bitcoin. I had to go to work at my dead-end job and make literally $40 instead of doing that. But yeah, he buried a Bitcoin. He came out here, and I want to know if he signed the checklist.
He didn't.
That breaks my heart.
I think. Let's see who signed it. All right. So from the guest log. All right, we have Jackson Britt is the first because he was the one who.
Look at the photos on the left.
Oh, those are cute. Put some little cut scenes in there. Armando Cielo.
Armando, shout out.
Did 24 hours of Mafialand, and he also wrote a note here. Mark my words, we are building a house. So Airrack, I know you posted on your stories a couple days ago that you were confused why no one had built a house. It is coming. I'm assuming they wrote that on February 1st, 2022. So yeah.
It's awesome. I'm just glad people are using it. And I want to apologize to everybody at home. We are roughhousing this audio. So Jared's holding the journal in front of the mic right now. So the sounds are like, there we go.
Okay.
We got you back.
So that was Death. Oh, the funny thing about Death, though, is contribution, my presence, social, very. Literally says very. So that was, I'm glad Death is lingering around out here somewhere, or sad. I don't know how I feel about that, but hope it's not too bad.
That guy's funny.
And then I was the one who signed it, and my contribution was I'm the first person to off-road a Tesla up to this location.
And you're the first person to launch and film a podcast.
Oh, that's true too. I should
Mafialand.
write that. I should write that on the sign-in sheet.
Yeah, first podcast ever. Jared Andrew Hughes.
I'm going to. After this, I'm going to write that. Part of the thing, like Jackson said, and one of the reasons I'm out here with Jackson, we were talking literally yesterday, and he's one of the people I call and bat ideas back and forth all the time. He has shot a lot of adventures with me, a lot of crazy stuff. He's kind of one of the few people that's always just like down. If he's free and not working, he's down.
Down.
And something I appreciate just in people in general, which is also, speaking of Airrack, that's one thing I love about working with his team, and I think that's why we get along. And they've brought me onto a few projects because we're both just down.
Down. Everyone's down.
Yeah. That makes me so happy is when people are just that like to create, like to have fun. So, and we were talking yesterday and somehow we ended up here today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's something that I appreciate a lot. Like literally, even if the person who invites me to something, hasn't planned it out, or like there's a chance that it'll be terrible, I always say yes, because like they're putting the effort in to organize something and give us like an experience, like a story, something outside of the ordinary, and I love it.
100%. And like if you go look at some of mine and Jackson's projects, they all start as like half-baked ideas, chaos on my part, and then Jackson uses his understanding of chaos to help me make it a little understandable, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and again, apologize for the planes. We're out here in the middle of Palmdale Desert.
Yeah.
And there are planes overhead. They're shooting a movie just down the way. This is rough, rough conditions.
But that's the best thing. Like, I'm going to be honest, like, I love the authenticity of that.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, especially recently, I've been trying to not over-perfect my work because, like, you know, it's easy to get in your head, and like, don't get me wrong, I love making like really clean cinematic stuff, but I sometimes just love putting out something that like, I just love putting it out because I don't want to over-perfect it. I want like, I read this quote once that was like, art is never finished, it's only abandoned.
Right.
And I always think about it, you know, you look at your projects, like how many of your projects have you looked back and gone, oh yeah, I could have done that better, or oh yeah, I could have changed that.
Oh yeah, all of them, 100%.
Exactly. So I kind of feel like it's sometimes important to just get it out there.
Yep.
And improve on the next one. You
well,
know?
that's why I daily vlogged all last month, and like the quality of my vlogs got really bad. But like I have so much perfectionism, and we've talked about this a million times, where like I'll overthink something and take 3 months to edit a video that should take a day or two.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm actually very impressed with the quality that you put into it daily vlogging. You know,
so
like
hard.
Doing it yourself and stuff. Because if you look at, so we both started daily vlogging at the same time, and I completely failed. I got into my head. I got in a bunch of really emotional conversations with people that just took me through a loop. And there's that plane. But you still kept going. You did it even when you didn't feel good, even when you were sick, and you still made it like semi-quality. Like, you know, the footage may not have been like the most. There was a couple where it was just talking head, you know, but you still did the sound. You did, you know, like I respected that. I had a lot of respect for that.
I like that, semi-quality. That's a good description of my channel.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it got, but you're right, it did get better and better. Where it's like, because that was the thing too, is like, you put every ounce of extra energy you had.
Right.
You know.
Oh, bro, like legitimately, the first week was okay, but like I work a restaurant job, right? So I'm working 5-6 days a week. So at first, I'm like, okay, waking up at noon, go to work, and then I edit and I film during the day. But then it turned into, I'm like editing until 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I sleep, and then I wake up and I have to go straight to work. And then I film and I edit, and now I'm nocturnal. And now I'm like, I don't want to like miss the gym. So now at like 6 a.m., I'm going to the gym. So I'm going to bed at 8 a.m. And like literally, it was starting to take a toll on my mental health. Like at week 3.5, I'm like, bro, this is not healthy with a full-time job.
No, it's tough. And honestly, like, I mean, we've been working together for years now, and we've both gone through a lot of phases of just like, and on top of our phases, we have the whole world shutting down, which is, you know, what it is. But
yeah, we were one of the first people to be affected by non-payments because of COVID.
Oh yeah, actually, we did a
like
couple
early.
of jobs, like and we did a couple of jobs for a Chinese company that literally shut down. Like as we finished the project and couldn't pay us because their entire they have facilities and everything, they just went deadlocked.
Yeah, totally. Like because China shut down first, right?
Yeah.
Like in January, and then we couldn't get paid early February, and then the rest of the world shut down like end of February.
Well, and on top of that, like, you know, video creators at least from the get-go, you know, the film industry shut down. Like we were one of the unnecessary things. Nobody was focusing on marketing. Everybody's budgets closed up, you know, so right off the get-go, it was like nobody needs videographers, you know, for my stunt stuff. That was all like film industry gone, like,
yeah,
you know, so there wasn't a lot to hold on to, but nonetheless, we still, you know, I ended up moving out to Joshua Tree with Tramp Wild Tribe. If you guys have seen the Junk Tramp guys, like Jacob Hinga, Luke
Trampall won, and then Hinga flips, and then basically Junk Tramp is they're all a part of it.
I know, I was trying to remember their real names. I wanted to say their Instagram names. In my head, it was
and you mix it all up?
Yeah, like it was just not working there. But all those guys, you know, which they were all Cirque du Soleil Trampall athletes. And
this airplane's really loud, but keep talking about Trampall. I'm going to sneak off while you're talking about it and check all the cameras because I'm neurotic.
Yeah, but because of COVID and stuff, like they decided to get a house out in the middle of Joshua Tree and kind of get away from the whole, craziness of the world. And then I decided to move out there, and then I brought Jackson along, and excuse me, and then the rest is history. I lived out there with them for like a few months till they moved out to Big Bear, and we created some fun stuff, and it was a good time.
So I might have made things worse by jumping in there.
Yeah, I didn't want it to overheat while we were recording.
Okay, but it's still rolling?
We're going to know in 2 seconds.
So while Jared's checking that out, I want to introduce myself. My name's Jackson Britt. I was a freelance filmmaker for about 2.5 years until COVID hit.
Yeah, he shut it off. I fixed it.
My bad.
Okay.
But I was a freelance filmmaker for about 2.5 years and a struggling freelance filmmaker. And basically right before COVID, I got to a point where I was about to start making $5-6 grand a month and basically make it. And then, COVID happened. We lost all our jobs. And then I started, I went through like a very severe, I don't want to say depression, but down period for about 2 or 3 months. And in that time, the thing that kind of pulled me through it is these little adventures I went on with Jared. So we went and hung out with the Tramp Wall guys. We did all these adventures. Oh, man.
Welcome to Live Sound.
That's bad.
It is what it is.
Yeah. But, yeah, we did the Tramp Wall adventures.
Well, and even in the Tramp Wall adventures, we did, we took the guys speed flying, which was sick.
Yep.
We went off-roading a couple times. We definitely did some shit.
Yeah, so we did a bunch of adventures, and I still did freelancing, like, from time to time, like, for about 1.5 years. And then just recently, about 2 months ago, I decided, you know what? I've been building this YouTube channel called For the Memoir, where I'm this average Joe that's going to basically start living life to the fullest, stop chasing money, start doing more adventures professionally. Not professionally, unprofessionally. And and I basically fired all my clients. So I had clients that were still reaching out to me to give me jobs, $500, $600, $700 jobs. And I said, I'm good. Like, thank you for the opportunity.
Well, hold on,
wonderful.
I'm going to chime in on this. A little preface is, and if you guys want to see a good reference of this, go watch the video that Jackson, he actually did a video of me, which I was very, very honored by. But if you know me, wow, that just got way loud. But if you know me, I am always actually asking my friends, like, why they're doing what they're doing. I, like, have this big thing with, like, if you're doing something that ultimately doesn't make you happy, if you're doing something...
I would wait. It's bad.
Well, that's a fighter jet.
That fighter jet is loud.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of military training grounds over here. If we just saw something blow up.
That'd be so sick.
Like, we just saw, like, a bomb go off. That'd be dope.
Oh, man. I'd be so sad because I couldn't record it.
I mean...
All the cameras are pointing at us.
I know, right?
If it blew up over there,
that'd
that'd be sweet.
like a Michael Bay film.
Yeah, right behind us.
Just... So, what I tend to just ask all my friends in general, or just people, like, really, like, I want, everyone to think about why they do things, because, like, to me, I just watch too many people do things that they're unhappy with. And Jackson he goes through a lot of, like, really intense, like, phases, and tries to add structure to his life so hard sometimes. And I'm like, why? Because I watch him have fun. Like, when we go out and do shit and it's random, he'll literally call me and be like, yo, you want to skateboard for like 100 miles from Santa Barbara to California? I'm like, that's so random, but I love that you love that.
Rollerblade.
Rollerblade. Yeah. But that, to me, things that excite people, like, that is, like, your why. Like, I was, one of the stunts we recently did, we just helped Airrack did, if you guys watch his YouTube video, he climbed my building, actually, the building I live in downtown. Yeah. And I set that all up, got him to climb it with suction cups. It was that was a thing. And in all reality, like, like, people are impressed by it and stuff like that. And all I could think was, like, 5-year-old dreams realized.
Yeah.
Like, that to me was the whole why. That to
Right.
me was the whole, like, wow, this sounds like fun.
Yep.
And I think that's the most important way to live life, personally. That's why I even wanted to start this podcast. Wanted to talk about, like, how people genuinely feel about fun experiences.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, like, that's the whole premise. Like, because you live that way, and I always thought the thing that I want to see you vlog was, like, after that Kinsey stunt, where, like, doing the wheelie with, like, the airplane, like, right behind the wheelie. It was insane. But then the coolest part was you calling the airplane pilot immediately after, going, yeah, bro, it went great. Like, we organized it. It was awesome. And, like, that excitement of you pulling it off and, like, seeing you organize it is, like, so, like, quintessential Jared. Like,
well,
that's just
and in
who
reality,
you are.
most of these things, and the reason I get called for these things, because I do things on a dime. Like, 24 hours. Half the stunts I've done for Airrack, 24 hours. Got to organize, plan the safety, make sure that, like, you know, we're going to do it and he's not going to die. Like, do it the right way and just, you know, make sure everyone's happy. Like, at the end of the day, everything goes well. And, like, I like that. Like, I like that pressure.
Same.
You know, and on top of that, it's like I said, like, for me, a lot of it's the why, because that's how my brain works.
Yeah, the chaos is so stimulating. Like, I like that there are problems that we haven't figured out. And I've actually heard Quentin Tarantino talk about this. He said he likes to leave room for the day of to make discoveries.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's things when you show up on set, or, like, especially with, like, free flow stuff like this, where, like, this podcast setup is not nearly exactly what we thought up before we got out here.
Hell no. Did we even really think something up before we got out here?
No,
we were like,
we're
let's
here.
go do a podcast on Mafialand. That was about we were like, let's do a 3-camera setup, and that was about as far as we got.
Yep.
We got out here, the wind was bad, and, you know, and we the only reason we're sitting in our cars, we originally planned to sit in these chairs around the coffee table, and then we moved the cars to block the wind.
Yeah, the wind's horrible.
You know, and then we had the light, and we made it work, though. And, like, at the end of the day, like, that's what it's all about. It's about just, like, we did something fun.
Yeah, we have an adventure.
Yeah.
An experience, novelty.
For the memoir.
Yep.
And like, I don't know, something that, like, as these podcasts go on, like, the goal of this podcast in general, like, we're talking right now about, you know, adventures we've already done, but we want to take people on new adventures. I like challenging people. I like being challenged. I like, you know, I call it the flow state. You know, that's what it's all about, is living in the moment. And that's just, like, my whole goal. Like, my whole goal in life is to just be present and help people be present and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to you have so many friends that are so interesting. Like, I would love to hear Vitaly's story, because he broke his back.
Yeah, that was rough. I've been with a couple friends when they've got hurt, and that's always hard for me, because, like, I'm very empathetic, and if somebody gets hurt on my watch, like, essentially, it just kind of kills me inside.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, Vitaly was freaking. He's sitting there, broken back, broken neck, like, can't move, like, you know, almost in tears on the ground. He's freaking held together so strong, and he gives me one of those movie moments, like straight up from a movie, like, Jared, and he's like, come here, you know, and he's like I'm telling you, like broken back and neck, you know, he just crashed from a skydive is what happened. And I'm like, what's up, dude? Like, you know, like, I'm freaking out, panicking, you know, waiting for the ambulance to get there.
Yep.
And he goes, get my phone, film it. I was like, yeah, you want me to film this tragedy? You know, and Vitaly is one of those people. He's extremely true. Like, he is an OG. Like, he is one of the original guys. He's just true to what he does and what he's filmed and who he is. And he's a really, really great guy in person. Like, he's super nice, super respectful and everything. And, like, yeah, I mean, that whole experience was crazy in general.
Yeah, I bet that's super nuts.
Yeah, and you know, and then recently I was with my friend Sam, where he had you know, and he was a very, very good, highly qualified jumper, and unfortunately just one little error, and he's been in the hospital for a minute. So, but he'll be recovering. He'll be getting back.
But those are just kind of like the natural risks of pushing yourself in extreme sports.
I mean, yeah, it's the natural risks in anything. Like, I try and tell people this all the time, and I don't feel like people understand. Like, they just don't. Is like, yes, do we do things that essentially have a higher risk capacity to some degree? Yes, but also the people I hang out with are the people that are, like, genuinely trying to save themselves. Like, we spend tons of time training, learning how to live. Sorry, someone's calling me. I'm gonna call them back. We spend all this time practicing living, training to, like, make sure that we can handle bad situations, that we don't die, things like that. You know, and a lot of people who do die don't do any of that. People,
Right.
you know, I have known people to literally drop dead out of nowhere, brain aneurysm or something like that, just unprovoked.
Wow.
Healthy people
Yeah.
that literally just in a split second there was nothing and they just passed away, and that's unfortunate. And you know, and I've had a couple near-death experiences, and for me it's like I'm gonna live and practice living. I'm gonna train to stay alive, but I'm gonna keep doing new things, no matter how new or scary or whatever, that make me feel alive.
Right.
You know, like I'm just not gonna stop, because I would rather die young and have fully lived than live to be old and have done like nothing.
Yeah, totally. Like most extreme sports people, it seems like because I've talked to a lot of people in the restaurant industry about basically the stuff that you do and the stuff I'm filming with you. And they go, that guy's crazy. Like that guy's like, he has a death wish. Like he must be like depressed and suicidal and like ready to die sort of thing. And I'm like, no, I think the way he looks at it is we haven't even started to live, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because like, and you can't really explain it to people. They have to just feel it. But so many people hate things about their life.
Right.
They hate, you know, their jobs. They may not be happy in their relationships, whatever. And also, you don't have to live like me to be happy either. You don't have to be super successful or rich to be happy. In fact, I know so many celebrities and stuff that are super successful and are miserable, depressed, as you know, and just looking for something else, you know. And that's like, the truth is like, I think the only way to be happy is to be authentically you, but then also explore life. Whatever that means. I don't care if it's traveling, you know, trying a new restaurant, anything. Like literally just explore life, because like what is the point of being a human organism on this planet if you don't experience anything new? If you literally just go day in and day out over and over and over and over, it just sounds so nothing.
You know, I would have agreed with you 100% maybe like a year ago, but I will play a little bit of devil's advocate, because in my relationship, we put a ton of work into the relationship, right? And I've slowly learned like the joy in making small progression and like appreciating the small nuances of life.
I'm going to pause you for a second,
Yeah.
because that's you're doing what I just said. Small progression, like I'm working on it, like that's the thing. I think living in redundancy is the problem. Redundancy where you're not fixing it, you're not seeking, but you care very much about your relationship.
No, I hear that.
So you put effort into it, and that's the exact same thing. That is the same thing as me jumping out of a plane and learning how to track and then learning how to free fly and whatever. It's like something I care about, so I put time in, and that's what shows your true values. Like my values are living, you know, and in this case, your values are your relationship. So yeah, like you're
both.
doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah. But I guess the whole point was like, I think you can find this joy in the smaller nuances of life. But like, I have like a timeline. I have like 5-6 days of small nuances of joy in the relationship. And then I'm like, bro, I need like an adventure. I need to do something out of the house. I got to do something like expand myself a little bit.
And I think that's another thing that I try and get across is like, we, especially in America, we have this very, very like, and in a lot of other places in the world, we have this very like, you need to focus on one thing. You need to do one thing. And I think that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I'm going to just say this because I think it's one of the most important, profound things I've ever heard, which is a jack of all trades, master of none is not the full saying. A jack of all trades, master of none, but usually better than a master of one. That is the full quote.
Oh.
You know, and in all reality, like, I meet people all the time and they ask me what I do, and I've gotten to the point where I've just started saying less or only saying one thing. Because then they find out that I do all these different talents and all these different things, you know, and it's just because I don't limit myself. I just don't think I can't do other things, or I don't think I have to give up everything for this one path. I do what sounds, you know, fun and what's going to give me life, and I try and respect everything I do so that I do it right, you know, that I don't just shortcut it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I think thinking that you only have to do one thing or focus on one thing is dumb. Like anybody will get tired of it, because the other thing that usually comes with the pressure of you're doing one thing because you're doing it for other people.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know very many people that do only one thing for themselves.
Yeah,
Actually, I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And like to build on, it's basically the same thing, but basically I hopscotched from like wanting to make courses to like freelance filmmaking to weddings to like real estate to like all over the place. And once I started doing YouTube, I'm like, oh, I can be creative within this one thing.
Yeah.
So like I can actually like apply focus and make progression in this one thing, but like it gives me enough, flexibility to actually like pull that off and like not feel trapped.
And on top of that too, like I feel like, and I hope I did this as a friend with you, but I feel like even when people tell me things that I generally think they won't like, I usually try and say, all right, good, go for it. Like, because to me, also another thing, learning what you don't want to do is equally as important as learning what you do want to do. Exploring and experimenting and finding things that you're just like, like that's just not for me. That builds you just as much of a person as trying to just go after something you love. So I think that's important too. Like it's all journey, and totally. I feel like that's all we have, In fact, you're gonna hear me say a lot of quotes on this channel because I love quotes, and I generally live by them. Like I try and I tattooed one of my favorites on my arm. But one of my other favorite quotes is, the world is filled with flat squirrels who couldn't make a decision, and
oh wow. That took me a second. I'm a little slow.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but it's also really deep where it's just like people, I have one friend that I talk to her all the time and she, is always going nowhere because she's trying to figure out whether she should go everywhere or what she should give up to go somewhere.
Right.
And I tell her the same thing. I'm like you should literally just pick something and do it for a little while but do it fully. And then do something else when you change your mind, and then do something else.
Or even if they choose to do nothing, they're going to feel pain from stagnating.
Yeah, and that's what I see happen more than anything else is I see too many people that are indecisive. Me as well. Like when I go through my depression, moments, which I definitely have.
Yeah.
They usually come from two things. When I get depressed or really sad, they come from either I'm not making a decision on something, and that usually is also because I am feeling pressure or putting pressure on myself because of what somebody else thinks.
Right.
Because I'm like expecting someone else to expect something from me, and that just makes me not able to make a decision.
Right.
And I hate that feeling.
Yeah, like that paralysis sort of.
Yeah.
Thing.
No, it's pure paralysis. Like if I get into that mode badly where I just feel like I can't be what somebody's expecting me to be and they make me feel bad about it, I will literally just not do anything for an entire day. I will just watch anime for an entire day.
Dude, that sounds so good.
Yeah, well, anime is my therapy for sure.
No, anime is sweet.
Yeah, that's the only thing that keeps me inspired. Like that's what keeps me going in life. Thank you guys for chiming in on the Life in the Flow State. This was our very first podcast.
Yep.
And we officially did this in Mafialand. So if anybody wants to come out to Mafialand, come check it out. This is a place for creators.
Literally anybody.
Literally anybody. Two things. Number one,
you wanted to bring somebody on the podcast.
Oh yeah. So, so we did this officially at Mafialand, and just for fun, I'm going to make a public call out or invitation, but I will also do a private one because he is a friend of mine. I'm going to invite Airrack to come and do a podcast here with me to talk about all the crazy stunts that we have done. I absolutely love working with this team, with him, Max, Hayden, Tyler, Phidias. They're all phenomenal, and I appreciate how authentic they are and how they really do their stunts. Really do the crazy stuff, and I make sure they do it and don't die.
Yeah.
So
those guys are beasts.
Yeah, and they're constantly raising the bar. So I love working with them, and I'm happy to continue working with them. So this is, if you guys watch it and you got all the way to this point, tag Airrack in it. And I'm gonna say something like that on Instagram or whatever. So tag him in that because I'd love to get him out here and do one of our podcasts in the future. And
I got a bunch of behind the scenes of that Spider-Man stunt. I want to just show people how much beast the team is.
They're incredible. They literally are like a phenomenal team, and they go hard. They work their asses off. They do not stop. They go all in, and that's why I love working for them because they're also extremely creative. They're extremely they don't stop. It's everything's a puzzle. They're like me. Everything's a puzzle, and they just want to solve it.
Yeah.
They want to come up with something ridiculous and make it happen and make it work.
Yeah.
You know?
The thing I respect, I took Airrack's Creator Now Season 2, and the thing I noticed on the calls is he was filming all day for like 14 hours. Then he
Oh,
was on
yeah.
the call and he was exhausted. And like even on the Spider-Man stunt, like the dude was tired.
Well, they had been filming all day before that. Like
Yeah.
they literally don't stop.
I know.
You know,
He had to
and
climb up a building and he was exhausted. Like he was
That's-
ready for bed.
That dude. The funny thing about Eric specifically, he has like a massive like I don't know what the word is, like a motivation that comes out of him.
Right.
Like that he's gonna do it. He's gonna like when he comes up with a challenge, he's just dead set on that challenge. And he's like, no, we can do this.
Singular
We can make it happen.
focus.
And I love that because I have too many people in my life that like everything you try and come up with or you tell them, they like tell you why it can't happen or they talk you out of it or whatever. But he's one of those people that's like, no, I'm gonna do it. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go hard. Like, and he also does like all the stunts and everything with massive respect, you know, for the stunt team, the safety, you know, no unnecessary risks. So like,
So polite.
yeah, oh yeah, he's
So
a very
polite to
respectful
everybody.
person.
Yeah, man.
And that's hard because I have met a lot of influencers and celebrities, both that are just complete jerks. Luckily, once again, it's one of those things that I've
Shout
been
out
fortunate.
to just kidding.
Don't do it. Been very fortunate though to work with a lot of like really genuine people. Kinsey's like still like my little sister, you know, and things like that. Like I have made a lot of good friends, you know, like even though they're hiring me in most cases, like they're friends.
So what do you
And
think?
I
Should we
love that.
bring Kinsey and Vitaly on the podcast?
Not together, but I will definitely be inviting Kinsey. I already talked to Kinsey. I'm gonna go out and hang out with her in Puerto Rico, and we're gonna go have a good time. She's, you know, so happy out there, and I love seeing her happy. Kinsey is honestly responsible for so much of my career and taking me around the world and all kinds of stuff. So I could never ever show enough gratitude for her.
Yep.
And you know, and just a lot of my friends out there that have done that and that I've gotten to film with, film for, create with. You know, just I do love the life I get to live, and I love being able to be creative and around people that don't stop at, you know, I don't know what the word is. Like they just keep pushing the bounds,
Yeah.
and that makes me happy because like that's what's important to me is just like keep growing.
Yeah. And we got to keep doing it.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna like this is just the start.
Yeah.
You know, and we've kept like inching into this more and more, and finally we were just like
Swan dive. Let's go. Yep.
So you know that makes me happy because like I'm ready, and like having people around you that are also as inspired and motivated.
Down.
Yeah,
Down people.
it just makes it better.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
All
Like
day.
I remember just a really quick story before we end this podcast. I remember my friend Pat, and this will tell you who I am in a nutshell. In one little mini story. I got a call from Pat. I don't know when I just remember I was driving, and he literally calls me. The first things he says to me is, "Listen," and we were under 21 at this time. I think we were 19. And he calls. He says, "I don't know anybody else in the world I could call that would drive 6 hours with me to a casino when we've never gambled before right now." And I was like, "Let's go." Literally drove straight over to his house. Like I was in the car.
Why not?
I don't remember what I was doing, but I quit. We hopped in the car. We went and lost all our money, and it was in fact, I even almost drove into a sign because I was so excited. I saw like the giant glowing eagle,
Oh, yeah.
you know, in Michigan, and you know, and that was just like that's been my life all around. Is just like down, you know.
Yeah, I'm down.
So that makes me happy. But
Well, if you guys want to check out either of our YouTube channels, you obviously found the Flow State, Life in the Flowstate podcast. Where can they find your other stuff?
I just did that because maybe if you're watching this visually, you can see it. But if you go check out on YouTube and on Instagram, I have the Flow State channel on both of those. I also, my personal stuff is Jared Andrew Hughes. So check those out, and you will find me and all the craziness that I do. And most of those things will include Jackson here, whose channels are...
I'm for the Memoir on YouTube, and then I am Jackson McCall Britt on Instagram, and I will be biking 69 miles to celebrate 69 subs.
He just wanted to pick the number 69. That was it.
I'm a child.
You know, that's we're all children at heart. So thank you guys for checking in. We are now about to go on to our next adventure.
Yeah, how do you end these?
I don't know.
Do we just stop?
I guess we just stop. We'll see you on the next episode of Life in the Flow State. Bring, ding, 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 ding. That was my jingle. Later.